Hello, everyone who's watching. Just a little conversation with one of my clients, Sean, here today, about his experience in the program and dealing with self-sabotage. And without further ado, yeah, I suppose, Sean, tell us a little bit about yourself, what you do.
Hi Liam, I'm Sean from Northern New South Wales, Australia. I have a roofing company and a construction company, and have a new business underway at the moment, which is going well. I've spent the good part of 15 to 17 years self-sabotaging myself, really, and being in complete denial of where I was at in my life and
Hmm.
trying to take on the world and still party and fall into despair and drink my sorrows away and try and build a family and businesses and buy houses and everything and just drink it all away through stress and doubts and misery, really, for that long, till I
Yeah,
made the decision to really try and just stop drinking, basically, and see if that will help in any way. Because I don't think I was necessarily an alcoholic in a way, but I was quick to grab a bottle of beer to get rid of my stress and problems.
hmm,
So, and I thought it was helping. I thought it was always the vice that I needed to get through my daily stresses, but I knew it wasn't deep down, but it's till I stopped and realized it was the catalyst, really, of all my problems.
for sure,
It was
mate,
a big day for me to stop.
for sure. And so, don't mind me asking then, Sean, what was your what made you want to do this? What made you join the program one, and what made you want to make a change? Was there a turning point for you, just something that happened to you, or what flicked that switch for you?
Well, it's just I have two good businesses that do really well, and I had my first child 3 years ago, and I thought I'd stop drinking and stop partying when I had my first child, and it was nothing. It got nothing but worse, really. I
Hmm.
just indulged even more, and I just didn't want to be home, didn't want to take responsibility for my responsibilities that I had every day, really, and I had to raise children, and it was just too much. So I ended up drinking more. And then I
Hmm.
had my second child earlier this year, and it just started to dwell on me that something going on here, and I can't deal with it. So I've stopped for a month before. I've stopped for 3 months before. I've run marathons. I've done Ironman triathlons. I've looked for all these vices to better myself. I've done ice baths and retreats and Wim Hof breathing and you name it.
Hmm.
And it just was all excuses just to band aid over and over again. And I'd fall straight back into this cycle and this big whirlwind of I'd drink for a month and then have a month off and focus on myself, my business, my family, and then just fall straight back into it.
Hmm.
And I was really getting fed up and I didn't know the answer. So I reached out to you and thought I'd give it a shot. And I think I'm somebody who likes to be held accountable for my actions.
Hmm.
So if somebody is there to follow up on me, you're only lying to yourself. And if someone's there to motivate you, and you know, like I said to you at the start, I can do a month. I could probably do 3 months, but
Hmm.
after that, I reckon I would. In the past, I've just rewarded myself with a drink, and it just falls straight back into it.
Hmm.
So my second child, I thought this would be a good idea. Let's stop. And he's a young boy, and I don't want to carry this drinking habit in a young man back through the family again.
Hmm.
And I want to stop that. I reckon there is a drinking trauma in my family for sure.
Hmm.
So between my wife and I, who both don't drink anymore, I thought let's this is for the family now. So I decided to stop and really dedicate everything to stopping drinking and seeing what could happen and focus on myself and my family 100%.
Fantastic.
And it's been phenomenal.
Yeah, look, I think a lot of people, if anyone who is listening, like a lot of people will relate to the sort of month off thing, but it's almost like you're white knuckling. It's the same with any habit. It's like you're white knuckling. You try and do all these other things, meditate and Wim Hof, like you said. You try and add all these other things, but you're not really creating the identity change, I suppose, which you're kind of after, which means you're always going to fall back into those cycles. So. you've mentioned a lot of reasons there. How was it affecting, how was this affecting, well, obviously you've been running businesses for a while, but how was it affecting that as well? Now, I suppose it's
It
easier
was
now to look back on, but at the time, how was it affecting things?
it was affecting it in the way we'd get a lot of work on board. We'd focus on getting that, get some money in, and then reward ourselves with writing ourselves off basically. And
Hmm.
the anxiety it was creating in the business, I would be hung over from a stressful afternoon and drink all night, and then couldn't confront that customer the next morning and just lose opportunities over and over and over again. And it was just up and down. It was so up and down. We would have a win here and then 10 losses and then a win. And
Yeah.
that was just stagnant. I reckon we're running at 40, 50%, you know? And I'm in the construction industry where it's hot and it's hard and cold beer every day is just the thing you go to. It's just, that
Hmm.
was it, the culture. And that's everybody does that, you know?
Hmm.
I was also curious, like, what would this be like if I'm just 100% sober and focused all year round? What could
Hmm.
possibly happen? Like, would it be great? Would it be too much? Would you take on too much? So,
Hmm.
I knew I had it in me. It was just taking that dedication and trying.
That step. Yeah, absolutely. And I think a lot of people, especially business owners, will 100% relate to a lot of that. So here's what's what's the experience of dealing with you? You know, you've mentioned your drinking, which was something that I was using for self-sabotage as well. But if you kind of give people a little bit of an insight, what's changed for you, Sean? Like what's actually changed in the last 6 months? Um, in fact, first I know because
Well,
there's obviously business and personal, but yeah, what's changed for you, mate?
the first, we did this. I knew it'd be a 6 month sort of program, and that felt so far away. Like the first month, the first couple of weeks you feel great. You're on this big high. The next 2 weeks you feel great again, and then after about a month or so, you start to feel a bit down and you feel a bit lost. Like there's something
Hmm.
is falling away from you, and the stresses start creeping up. Anxiety's still there again. It creeps in. I reckon within that second month, it was creeping back in.
Hmm.
It's starting to commit. Something is gone. Something that you used to use is slowly fading away. You have
Hmm.
to deal with this in your head with full reins now. And then all of a sudden you start to feel a bit confident again, and then you go back down. And it was the first 3 months was up and down. The emotions. I would sit in my shed and where I used to drink and just tinker away with tools and stuff and surfboards. That I used to drink in there and sitting in there, I'd still sit in there without anything, and it was
Hmm.
very confusing. It felt
Hmm.
very, and you feel sad. You feel sad like something is gone. You've lost
Hmm.
somebody almost,
Yeah.
and then all of a sudden you start to just get used to it, and just you sleep. You start to sleep better. You go to bed and you wake up, and you start to really crave those nice mornings and the family time and everything. And then all of a sudden everything starts changing. You know, you're not that larrikin at a barbecue anymore. You're the guy
Hmm.
that doesn't have to say much and listen a lot more.
Hmm.
You realize you weren't ever that fool at the party that was falling over and dancing and being a clown. You're actually
Hmm.
that respectful guy now that people like to talk to. You
Yeah.
know, have my
Brilliant.
relationships in the workplace. I don't bond with my staff anymore through drinks at the pub. We bond through work, and that's all we have to talk about.
Hmm.
So they
Brilliant.
respect me more. They they wouldn't come in hungover. I would sense it straight away. So the relationships just purely work now. There's no more bonding and trying to friend people after work. It's just solely business.
Fantastic, Sean. And, yeah, and talking about business, how's it affected? I suppose what's changed in your business since then? Like since you've decided to, well, since you've stopped self-sabotaging, what's the result been in your business, mate?
It's been phenomenal. It's been absolutely phenomenal. Just I've got the consistency in following up leads now and getting the actual labouring work done is just it's Monday to Friday or Monday to Saturday, and it's just solid week in, week out. A good rest every night, good rest, good family time over the weekend, structure and following up, and just I don't miss a beat. I can remember a job from 2 weeks ago. Got to follow up on this guy. and it's just snowballing with so much more consistency. So
Yeah,
we've we after looking at this year, I reckon we've almost in 6 months, I reckon I've doubled to almost tripled my revenue so far,
incredible.
just in that consistency. I've lost that 2 weeks that I used to just go downhill
Yeah.
is going uphill now. Every month is doing better than the last.
I think that consistency, like whatever people are self-sabotaging with me, that consistency is something that people sort of crave, rather than going, then massive peaks, there's massive troughs. That sort of consistency, yeah, and to have tripled, you've been in business for what is it, 15 years, Sean, if I'm not mistaken. Like,
Yeah.
and sometimes it's just to get, it's crazy the results that happen when you just get out of your own way, mate. And that's all it
Mm,
was. That it's not like you never had it in you. You've always had it in you, mate. It's just that you've maybe been suppressing that potential. So that's
definitely.
fantastic, mate. Um, have you had any, would you say there's any noticeable mindset shifts since you've been doing
Oh,
this?
definitely, definitely. I've just you grow up and you grow up into the person you are deep down.
Hmm.
I'm a lot more mature.
Hmm.
Like I used to I used to lie to my wife a lot just for an excuse to go to the pub and
Hmm.
just come up with stupid, immature, juvenile excuses all the time. Avoid family time, avoid the kids, and just feel like a real juvenile kid. So now I feel like a man, I feel like a father, I feel like a business owner. I just have a lot of respect for myself. And it's just, you can look
Fantastic.
people in the eye. I look everybody in the eye when I talk to them. I don't have an excuse to look away because I just feel anxious and insecure about myself.
Hmm.
Um, you gain a lot of respect, and you're not even really saying anything either. You're just listening to a lot of
Hmm.
people and watching, and you feel so much better about yourself, and it grows, and then that grows into trying something else, and it's amazing. It's amazing what time and just a bit of discipline can really do.
Fantastic, Sean. And I suppose, what would if there's anyone listening, right, and they're self-sabotaging in any way, mate, bad habits, procrastination, right, and what would you say to them about, see if there's any habit, what would you say to them about changing it? See if someone's on the fence about taking a shot at it, mate, right? No matter what way that is, what would you actually, say like a younger version of yourself then. Let's put it that way. Like if you were to speak to yourself 5 years ago, which is a position someone listening might be in, what would you say to them?
You really need to confront yourself and be brutally honest with what you were doing,
Hmm.
and just make a decision to make a change and just start. You just need to start and take it one day at a time.
Hmm.
For me, I'd say one day at a time, but it wasn't as extreme as that. I could do a day. It was
Hmm.
more month to month. Always look long term, but you just need to let it play its course and feel every emotion that comes through rawly, and just continue. Just don't go back and stay on that path, and the changes will make a change. It does change. It can be very hard, that's for sure, but
Hmm.
you need to dedicate yourself to it, and the changes come.
For sure. I mean, yeah, that's something I say to people a lot. There's a little bit of pain with any sort of change in your identity or habits, mate, for sure. That's fantastic, Sean. And I suppose, a little bit from me in the final, just the final question is, if there's any business owner out there that is self-sabotaging, that's maybe thinking about joining the program, what would you recommend that to them? What would you say to them?
I would recommend I would recommend getting on board with Liam for sure, because I thought I could do it by myself, and like I said, I've achieved a lot in my life that was momentarily really, it wasn't anything long term,
Hmm.
and I knew if somebody held me accountable, such as yourself, for a period of time, I could I could jump on board with that, and it would definitely get me in the right step forward for the future. So,
Fantastic.
you know, if somebody is struggling with sabotaging in any way, drugs, alcohol, family issues, I reckon alcohol could be the catalyst of it all. And
Hmm.
for the rest of your life, it is. I believe it's definitely a wise decision to give it a go
Hmm.
and really consider what's in front of you that is causing the issues. Uh, it's helped
Fantastic.
me. That's for sure.
Definitely, Sean. And to be honest, for a closing remark from me, it's been an absolute pleasure to work, like pleasure to see your change in the last 7 months. To be honest, it always is with people, but you've took it really seriously for yourself, mate. There's never been a time you've never made an excuse. Not once have you
No,
made an excuse for yourself, which is absolutely fantastic, mate. So it's been a pleasure, and yeah, thank you very much for that, Sean.
thank you, Liam.